There is disbelief and there's anger from state lawmakers after the Office of the Child Advocate wrote a scathing letter about that tragedy. It's bringing up more questions about gaps in DCF care. NBC Connecticut's Jeremy Chin has more reaction and what changes are on the table.
Well, Keisha, this is a very distressing story to hear for any parent, and the child advocate told NBC Connecticut Investigates she learned about this case last week. As they investigated, their initial findings brought big concerns addressed in a letter. DCF says it's aware and reviewing those concerns and are working on improvements. In a 15-page letter to lawmakers, the state child advocate Christina Guillo presents highly critical findings about the Department of Children and Families, sparked by a recent disturbing case. Guillo says a child with an open case took their own life within an hour of a DCF worker visiting their family. She writes DCF records show the child told the worker they didn't feel safe and asked to be in foster care, but DCF determined they were unable to do that.
This shouldn't have happened because the child asked for help, and the child was left in the home.
That started an investigation by Guillo into what happened in that case. It goes on to say her office is alarmed by the quality of case practices, especially when it came to DCF workers meeting a child face to face.
That's not happening in 40% of the cases, which is alarming. And needs to be addressed urgently.
Guillo points to issues like more support needed for DCF caseworkers and even points to telework being something to look at. She writes DCF workers are allowed to work remotely 80% of the time with approval.
That in-office dynamic is important, and it makes sure that folks are there and able to get the work done and getting the support they need from their coworkers.
Democratic Senator Cece Morris says the letter was scathing.
I was extremely upset, and then I was angry.
She says it's clear to her reforms at DCF are necessary.
I think it is essential that we look at this and not just see it as an isolated incident, but as a continuum of need for change.
Republican Senator Jason Perillo agreed.
These are issues within DCF that can be fixed within DCF, but we have to get serious about DCF. And we really haven't been.
Guillo says her office has been trying to work with DCF on fixes, but hasn't been successful. In a statement, DCF Commissioner Susan Hamilton acknowledged Guillo's findings in that they would improve, saying in part, "We take very seriously and support the recommendations outlined in the OCA letter and will continue to work in partnership with them to strengthen our practices and improve the larger child welfare system." A state bill to have more oversight over DCF passed the House unanimously Thursday. This comes with scrutiny over its handling of recent high-profile cases, like the death of 11-year-old Mimi Torres Garcia in New Britain last year and 12-year-old Eve Rogers in Enfield last month. Senator Morris says there's now a further push to get the bill to the Senate.
There is a very, I think, sense of urgency to bring this out while we are all thinking about this horrific story.
And Keisha, as you would expect, it's this type of story that's compelling our state senators to get this reform bill to Ned Lamont's desk, Governor Ned Lamont's desk, as soon as possible.
Well, you can understand why. I mean, at its core, we're talking about protecting our kids. At the very least, have we learned any more details about this latest case?
Well, according to the child advocate, she says the child's family did not have stable housing, bounced in and out of Connecticut for many years, and none of their children were enrolled in school. As you can imagine, for you as a mother and for parents watching, a lot of questions, and all of that's going to be part of the child advocate's investigation.
We know you'll stay on top of it to wait to get some answers for us. Thank you, Jeremy.